You in the shot? Are you looking at the camera? Listen, get it together, buddy. Should I be on this side? I feel like, do you think they want me to be on this side or that side? No, they don't want to, you know what? They want to see the terrarium, don't they? Hello everyone and welcome to The Mess. My name is Jake, also known as Plant for Life. I'm going to take you along as I do a full day of fuss-free plant chores / plant care for over 100 plants, people, because I got a whole separate life aside from plants outside of all this greenery, believe it or not. For those of you who don't know, I have a music channel. I'll leave a link for it in the bio, but check out my music videos. But yeah guys, the day is young and I want to get some stuff out of the way for this week, so let's get to it. You just stay there. So the first thing I do every morning is I take my spray bottle and spray down my terrarium cabinet right behind me. Now, it doesn't need to be sprayed every single day. I can go away for a week or so and it'll be just fine, but I like to keep it sprayed once a day in the morning just so all of the moss stays nice and healthy. When moss starts to dry out, it dries out one too many times, it starts to get brown, it starts to die back, it starts to not look so green, starts to look a little bit brown, so I like to keep my moss and all of the aerial roots of the aeroids and the orchids in there nice and healthy, so I like to give them a daily spray. So we're gonna do that right now. So if this is the first time you're seeing my cabinet, I actually have a whole playlist of videos that I will link below on how I made this, a whole tour of all the plants in here, so I'm not going to linger on this too much. But if you look closely, you will see that some of the moss on top is very close to that very bright grow light, and it dries out very quickly. So I always make sure I hydrate the top first. By the way, this grow light, it is waterproof. I can spray it, it's just fine. It's not gonna cause a fire or anything, you know what I'm saying? So yes, safety features, #1. And then all the water will trickle down like it would in the wild, and it will eventually water all of this. So I don't need to spray down here quite as much. There's also less light down here, so it's not going to dry out as fast. But what's really important is this whole top portion of the cabinet. I like to get that at least once a day. And honestly guys, when you have 40, people be dropping stuff above me, it's crazy. My neighbors are crazy. But let me tell you guys, when you have 40 plus plants in one thing where all you gotta do is just spray it once a day, it's so much easier guys than having all these individual pots in a grow tent or just the regular cabinet like I used to have before I turned it into this terrarium. It just makes life so much easier. Oh my God, this has made my fuss-free even fuss-freer. Less fuss? No, more fuss-free. More fuss-free? Jake, just go to bed. And then what I do with this is I actually just put it right here. It just happens to aesthetically match my Roborock vacuum cleaner. Can you see it? You can kind of see it. Oh, by the way, he's my alarm clock. He wakes up at like 9 o'clock in the morning and he starts cleaning and that's when I wake up, so. The next thing that I do, guys, is something that I do maybe like twice a week or so. I head over to my Detolf cabinet. Ooh, hey. So in here we have my little shelf of all my carnivorous plants. I have 6 of them. I just got a new one from Plant Corner. It's a trumpet plant, which I'm very excited about. It's a different kind of trumpet plant. This one right here, when it grows up, it will get much, much taller than the one right behind it, that really red one. I actually had some of these featured in a recent video of weird plants, so go check out that video as well if you want to see more of these. But what I do is that I actually have a gallon of distilled water right here that I get from the bodega just around the corner. And this lasts me probably at least a couple of weeks, maybe even almost a month. And what I do is I will just fill this cup with some water and we're just gonna go ahead and water these plants. Carnivorous plants need distilled water or rainwater or reverse osmosis water. You can't use tap water because tap water has minerals and chemicals in it that will actually burn your plant and eventually kill it. That is why they are carnivorous, because they are from areas with very poor nutrients in their soil. where they grow. So they do not want any nutrients at all. So we're just gonna water these guys, and they like to sit in water. Some people will say don't let your plants sit in water, but these particular ones, they're bog plants essentially. They like to sit in water. They never wanna dry out. And a little tip, if you have pitcher plants or trumpet plants, if you want them to hold on to those beautiful red pitchers, you want to fill the pitchers with water so that they stay hydrated longer and last longer. And once I am done with that, guys, I will just stash everything away over here, out of sight behind my couch. Now, these spray bottles I have here are another little hack that I have to keep things nice and orderly. I have right here spray bottles with tap water, insecticide mite spray, and a little bit of diluted fertilizer. I will use this especially for the orchids in my terrarium because I don't fertilize my terrarium. I don't want things to get too big in there too fast, but I want to fertilize my orchids so that they bloom every year in there. I will use this for leaves that get a little bit dusty over time, things that I just need to drench but not necessarily water. And then right here I have my insecticide / mite spray. If I see any little pest outbreaks, I will just grab this and get to work. And if I just step back, you will see that it just is tucked away right behind my couch, so you cannot see it. Okay, people, now we're going to make our fertilizer. This should last me about a week or so. This is the fertilizer I use, and I use this for all of my plants that I fertilize. And I just use about maybe half or a little bit over half of a tablespoon or whatever the heck this is, I don't care. I'm just gonna put that in there. This is a gallon, and I'm going to just fill that with some water. This is weird doing stuff with one hand. Here, Apollo, hold that for me, will you? And I will also keep this right over here, guys, just out of sight, but we are going to use my little watering can because this is a lot easier to water plants than trying to fill little pots with that thing, because this thing, it's just chug, 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 chug. Or this one's just like sip, 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 sip. You see that? That's a little sip, 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 sip. But this here is like chug, 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 chug. But this here is like sip, 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 sip. But this here is like chug, 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 chug. Da 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 da. However, I am going to use this to water my Vandas. Now, about once a week or so, I will let these guys soak in their vases in fertilizer water. And oh, that's very heavy. Ooh, there we go. I'm just going to let them sit in there for a few hours. In terms of weekly care, I just spray these down about once every day or two, just to keep the roots hydrated, because their roots, they love to soak up a lot of moisture, but then they love to dry out completely, even more than a Phalaenopsis. Oh, by the way, guys, check out this hanging variegated, what are you? Syngonium. Does it need to be watered? Wait, let me do it on the left side so it looks aesthetically pleasing for you guys. Aesthetically pleasing. Okay, did I miss? I think I missed the whole freaking... Yeah, I didn't even get it. I just poured it inside of... Guys, I literally just poured it inside of that decorative pot. Well, now I'm gonna do this the normal way. Now get back up there! I love how these guys just trail. They just look so beautiful. I recently just hung this pot, and I'm liking the way it looks so far. It's growing on me. It's growing on me, guys. Next, I'm going to just water this Philodendron Majestic. This guy does not need a moss pole to size up. He just needs to be supported. So he's on a bamboo stick, as you guys can see. And he's got a new leaf coming in. Look at that leaf. Look at it under the light. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, that is not safe for work, honey. Oh, check this out, guys. Check it out. Wait, hold on. How do I do this? Right there. What is it, this one? This one. That is a brand new flower, just opened up last night. This is my Paphiopedilum. What are you? You are Knight's Ward? I don't know what that means. But yeah, there's 2 plants in here, guys, or maybe 3, like a third small one down in there. I can't quite tell. They're really close to each other. But now it has 3 flowers, guys, and they should last about a month or 2, I believe. But that is just so cool. He's just a little alien. Look at that. Oh, oh. I'm zooming in and pulling out. Isn't that cool? Woo, woo, woo. Eat me, bitch. I mean, you're not like dry, but you're putting out a new leaf, so yeah, you need a little bit more water. I find the anthuriums in very low humidity, which is my situation, even in no drainage vessels, when they're putting out a new leaf, you want their substrate to stay wet. When the leaf is starting to harden off and fully form, then you can let it approach dryness in between your waterings. But sir, I will get to you in a second, okay? But it's putting out this beautiful leaf right here, and it got a little bit of a tear in there, so that tells me that he dried out a little bit too much, so I have to keep an eye on him as this leaf gets big up, because it's gonna get nice and big, probably bigger than this leaf. This one right here is my Maglux, which is Magnificum crossed with Luxurians. That is one of my favorite leaves right there. He is just amazing. He's been growing super fast all winter long. It's crazy. He has 2 inflorescences right here. He doesn't seem to be going into the receptive phase, so I'm probably not going to be able to self-pollinate him. But the last week or so, I've been collecting all of his pollen. So that maybe if one of my other anthuriums are going into the receptive phase, I got some pollen ready to go and make a little something something, make some babies. So I don't know if you can see very well, there's a little bit of yellow dust stuff in there. That is some pollen that I have in the freezer. And what I do every day, or whenever I can remember, I would just take the inflow that is in the male stage, which is this one that is just about spent. What I do, guys, is I will take this funnel and collect the pollen every day or whenever I can remember when it's in the male stage, which is the pollen producing stage. This flower back here, he's a little bit floppy. He's just about spent. You can see his stem is getting a little bit lighter in color. So you know what? I'm actually just going to clip him off because he's just about dead anyway. And I'm just going to collect the last little bit of pollen that I can from this guy. All right, and let's get all that stuff down the drain. And there it is, guys. We got a little bit more in there. Harvesting them is very easy. Growing them is very easy. So very easy, guys. That's why there's so many hybrids on the market now, because so many private collectors are doing what we're doing right now, just collecting our pollen and making babies rain. That's what we're doing. I'm gonna show you some babies in a little bit, actually. Over my bed right here is a painting that I made at this point, I think like 10 years ago, of some banyan trees. We went to Hawaii, me and my family. Let me see the date. I was kind of in like a Van Gogh era. And anyway, so yeah, they had a lot of banyan trees there, which are trees that grow their branches down into the ground and they become roots. And yeah, so this is just kind of like a, is this impressionist? I don't know. It's been a while since I took an art class, but yeah, so I have it dated 2014 and then restored, oh wait, there we go, November 2022. So yeah, it was getting kind of faded. It's acrylic paint, guys, but I just kind of darkened some of these branches and these tree trunks here, just made this a little bit more vibrant, but it's essentially the same painting, just a little bit poppier, pops of color, anyway. So yeah, a lot of the art in my apartment is art that either I made or that my friends made, and if it's not, it's something that means a lot to me because of where I got it. So for example, over here are some prints that I also got from Hawaii of this turtle right here. We went and we swam with some turtles, we snorkeled, we saw the turtles. It was such a beautiful experience. While I was snorkeling, I was kind of away from like the group of snorkelers all, you know, doing this. and getting their backs all sunburnt. And I was maybe 50 feet above the bottom of the seafloor, right off the coast of one of the islands, and I saw this lone turtle just sitting there, just chilling for a while, for several minutes. But then after a certain point, he looked up at me very slowly and started swimming up towards me. And they made a big deal about not being within 10 feet of these turtles because their populations were endangered, and getting too close to humans can spread diseases and things like that, and they want to avoid that. They want to protect these turtles, but also be able to have people appreciate them at the same time. But yeah, this turtle, he just came right toward me. He was just, and they move so fast, but in like a slow-mo kind of way. They're just so serene, it's so amazing. And yeah, and we just kind of locked eyes for a second. Then he kind of went to the side and he looked at me from the side of his eye. It was just such a beautiful moment that I had with nature and with another species. You know, like when you're snorkeling or scuba diving, which I also love doing, you really do feel like an astronaut in another world, because our oceans and our reefs, they are just spectacular, guys. If you can put anything on your bucket list that you haven't already, please go snorkeling or scuba diving. If you can do it, go scuba diving, but if that scares you too much, then by all means just do the snorkeling, but go somewhere where you're gonna see just beautiful, beautiful reefs. I mean, there's so many places in the world, so many tropical places, and you want to appreciate them now while they're still beautiful, because they are at risk due to climate change and all that kind of stuff. So yes, it's very good to be connected with nature. You're more appreciative of nature, and you're just more aware of how you interact with the world. You know, small things like recycling, you know, small things like, I don't know, upcycling and reusing things or whatever, so that they don't end up in our oceans. You know, because turtles will actually swallow plastic bags thinking that they're jellyfish, because they eat jellyfish. So they will actually swallow plastic bags and suffocate. We want to make our world better, guys. We are the generation that wants to make this world better. But I'm saying is we have an opportunity now to change the world. And it comes down to, oh, but I'm just one person. It's one person making all these little changes in their life. And you do that and you multiply that by 8 billion people, then suddenly the whole world changes. Here's an example of something that one of my friends made. She uses this method of using like a flame torch or something and like blowing the paint around. And it just creates this beautiful earthy, almost like you're cutting into stone or something. And then right over here is something that I made. I actually made it using, what did I use? Spackle. Spackle, and also rubber or plastic cutting utensils to make like a cake, like when you create the grooves on like the sides of the cake and stuff. I used like a kit for one of those. So although it is really big, it's not like imposing. It doesn't suck all the energy or turn all the eyes to this area. It allows the space to breathe and allows people that come into my space to really look around and not have one thing be the focal point. But I really wanted to add something to this empty wall space, because I know that if I didn't do it and didn't do it fast, I would have filled this with plant shelves. And I don't need no more plant shelves, but I need more plants. So I guess I need more plant shelves. Oh. So here's my shelf of terrariums. This is my avatararium that I made a video on. I'll leave a link for that below. And this right here is just a generic terrarium that has morphed over time, and now it's unofficially become my jewel orchid terrarium. So I will add some B-roll of both of these guys to show you what they look like up close. Down here, guys, we have something really, really cool. Now, you might not be able to see, but I made a mini terrarium for one of my friends, First Floor Foliage. This terrarium is still in the acclimation process. There have been a few little fuzz mold outbreaks, that look like stuff looks like fuzz, that has been attacking some of the less than healthy moss on one side of the terrarium. So I am just periodically checking for that. I open up the top once a day and just I blow into it to create some airflow, because one thing that fungus hates is airflow. And here is my grow tent, guys. This is the lab. So let's look right here. These are very special because they are anthuriums that I made myself. Get out. These right here are little babies. Little baby anthuriums. If you look really closely, you can see just a little bit of sparkle in there. Aren't they adorable? They're maybe like 2 or 3 months old at this point. This was, I believe, self-pollinated by my Anthurium Black Swan, aka, or previously known as my Fort Unknown, that I'm just knocking it over, that I did a video on. God, what am I even doing? Right over here we have my beautiful Philodendron. What are you? I was gonna say El Choco Red. You're better than El Choco Red. You are... Oh, Varicosum Amazon Sunset. I never know what my plants are called, guys. Look at the back of that leaf. It's hard to see because the light's shining on it, but look at that leaf back there. Look at that. So I have him in here mainly for space reasons. Also, I'm still trying to figure out how to keep him happy, as you can see, but he's probably gonna love that wet life as I keep him nice and hydrated in that no drainage vessel. And that's a new leaf right there. So not too bad, not too bad. These are some Vitarifolium seedlings that I got from Jira. These are from one of her plants at Plant Corner. I thought that was so nice. And then I gave some back to her when I got them to germinate. These are also about like maybe 2 or 3 months old. Look at that. And most of them already have 3 leaves. And they're already starting to look kind of long. Do you see how they're looking just a tad more elongated than the other batch that I have? This is another part where the fertilizer spray bottle comes into play, because I'm just now starting to very lightly fertilize some of these anthurium seedlings. This is what remains of my very big burley marks, my variegated burley marks. That right there is the mother plant. So there she is. I'm gonna grow her back out because she was getting a little bit leggy for my liking, and I am going to be selling off these. I've already sold off a few of them just for like $5, nothing too crazy. These are pretty common these days, but so beautiful, and I want to share my mother plant with a lot of people locally. So here's another piece of art that I wanted to show you guys that I got recently from one of my friends who just got engaged, and I am so happy for her. But look it's stitched or woven? What is that? Hold on. What is that? Is that stitched? Or crocheted? No, not crocheted. What is that? Somebody tell me what that is. But that is just amazing. A beautiful, beautiful work of art of a Monstera. Kind of looks like a variegated Monstera, but that's probably just like the lighting and stuff. And I'm literally making this thing rock on the wall. What a mess. It's gonna fall over. But yes, I'm just gonna back away slowly from that before I break it. That's in my entryway. And then I have some other kind of nature-themed things here. This is from a photographer up in Lake George that I got a few years ago when they had a little fair of local talent. Speaking of local talent, next, what I'm going to do is fertilize my big, beautiful bird of paradise. This is the only plant that I actually have given a name. I call him Perry. Get it? Get it? Perry, like bird of paradise. Anyway, I've had him for like 10 years. 10 years? Yeah, over 10 years, 11 years, right? Oh my God, yeah, 11 years. And by the way, he would be a lot bigger than this, an 11-year-old bird of paradise, but I've nearly killed him so many times, but he keeps coming back. So I have some preserved moss on here, just kind of decorative, that I'm going to remove. And I'm going to put on my gloves. I got these gloves for my birthday by my sister. She always gets me the best stuff. Look at this. Oh yeah. I only fertilize this guy once a year in the spring, late spring, early summer. I feed Perry with bone meal, and I just follow the instructions on the back, which says 1 to 1.5 tablespoons per potted plant. He is so hardy, guys. I only water him like once every 6 to 8 weeks. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I don't water him very often. Usually you would want to water a Strelitzia like once a week or once every 2 weeks. You know, let them partially dry out in between waterings, but he has just toughened up so much in the last 10 years that he really does not need a lot of water, and he grows just fine, guys. And that's literally it, guys. That's it for a full year. He is good to go. All right, so now I'm gonna take him to my bathtub, where I'm gonna shower him, gonna clean off his leaves, and let the water go all the way down. Let that bone meal really sink in so that his roots can absorb all that new nutrients he's got. And that'll just let him flourish all throughout this summer. I'm not hitting him, guys. I'm shaking off the water droplets. Bad plant, bad plant. No, I'm not abusing my plant, guys. And the last thing we're gonna do today, guys, is spruce up this orchid. I just went to a party with my family, and there were some raffles and some baskets with goodies in them and stuff. And then I saw this orchid, and I saw the shape of the flower petals, and do you see how they're kind of pointy? I was told by somebody that sometimes they're fragrant when they have smaller, pointier flowers, and it's a very, very faint scent, but it's a slightly lemon scent. So I'm very, very happy that I won this guy in the raffle. And what we're going to do is something very simple, nothing too crazy. We're just gonna get rid of these really ugly stakes for these flower spikes. We're gonna add something just a little bit more natural looking, a little bit more artsy, a little bit more earthy, I guess you could say. We're going to stake them up with some curling willow that I got from the Flower District here in Manhattan. Let's see what the best one would be. So maybe that one? I feel like this one, because then I could stake that here, and then this flower spike could be staked there. Or actually, I think I should do it this way. So then I can stake them like that. I think that would look really cool. So yeah, what I'm going to do is just take this guy out of his decorative pot, and I'm just gonna take a look at his root system and see where a good place is to put a little stick in. I don't wanna damage any roots if I can help it. Look how beautiful those roots are. All right, so I think right there is a good spot. And as you can see, the end, oh, hold on. Oh, nope, not that way. That way, what am I even doing? What am I doing on YouTube? Oh boy, and as you can see, the end is pointy, so it will get down into the substrate with ease. Where am I doing this? Oh, right here. Just Just like that. Perfect. And I got a little bag of spare twisties and little clips and things. Orchids always good with clips, so I always hold on to those. I think clips will be just fine. Or actually, you know what? Let's use little black twisties. I think that'll be nicer. So we're gonna put that flower spike on this one. And there it is, guys. Doesn't that look so much better? It just looks more presentable. It's kind of hard to see right now. I'll go put it back on display and you guys can see it like that. But right now you can't really see the wood. There she is, guys. Ain't she cute? And just very slightly fragrant, which is so nice. That's what the curling willow looks like. Doesn't just make it look just a little bit more, I don't know, artsy or sculpturesque, I don't know. But we're just gonna put her right up here. Oh yeah, she looks so cute up there. I like how it looks like a little arch, like a trellis or something. Wait, I'm not even, like a trellis that people put vines and Hoyas and things like that on. Anyway, but ain't she cute? All right, get out of here. All right, guys, I guess that just about wraps things up. So, from my cute little plants to yours, have a wonderful day, night, weekend, I don't know, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. But yeah, guys, I gotta run. Him and I, we're going to the movies, so I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.